Welcome back to Cult Radio, A Go-Go Live, and we are on the air with our first guest this evening, the woman, the legend, everyone loves her, Miss Betsy Palmer. Welcome to the show, Betsy.
Oh, thank you very much, Tiffany. Happy to be a part of sharing Saturday night with you. What do they say? Saturday night is the loneliest night in the week?
Yeah.
I think that's a song.
Especially for our listeners.
I never feel that way. I'm never lonely, ever. In fact, I like to be alone. I think I'm Greta Garbo in drag. Yes.
I loved what you said when I first spoke to you. I said that you were always the most beautiful woman on television. You still are. And you said you are what you are. And you said you're Popeye the Sailor Man.
I am what I am. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Well, I don't know. I feel most blessed to have had the life that I have had and that I'm having. I'm a happy lady.
Absolutely.
Nice to be on the planet Earth.
Well, you know,
when I depart, I'm 81. I'm going to be 82.
Wow.
In November 1st. If I make it, who knows?
Oh, don't talk like that, Betsy.
No. I have no problems about departing, coming in or departing.
Right.
Well, you know something.
I've been very, very blessed.
I'm 51, Betsy, and I can hardly move. So if I felt as good as you do at your age.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Here I am in bed talking to a lovely man and lovely lady, and a surprise, really. I didn't remember we were supposed to do this.
I'm sorry if we woke you up.
Thank God I don't go out traipsing around. So I do sometimes.
Well, we'll just all blame it all on Anya.
Right.
And from what I saw you doing Friday the 13th, she better run if you get mad, too.
Friday the 13th. You know, there are two things in my life which I sort of just, I don't give tremendous credit about or anything. The two things, because they were something that just sort of happened. And one was I've Got a Secret, which was all those years ago, with Gary Moore and Henry Morgan and Bill Cullen. And first it was Jane Meadows, and then it was Bess Marson.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing was Friday the 13th, which came to me out of the blue. And I said, I remember my agent calling to me. I was on Broadway at the time I guess I was doing Same Time Next Year, and driving home that night, after a Tuesday night after we were playing again to start the week. My car broke down, just, wouldn't move. And I spent, I guess, an hour that usually it took me to get home until 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, trying to, get somebody to come and take care of me at the side of the road. Not take care of me, but at least the police come along, You want them, they're never there.
Right.
But anyway, so it was by the end of the week, I went out. I said to my daughter, I've got to get a new car. She said, go and look at one of those Scirocco's. She said, they're so cute, their little hind end up in the air and all that. So I went to the Volkswagen people, and I saw the car, and it was cute, I must say. And so I thought, well, fine, and it was $9,999.50, something like that.
Well, I wish we could buy a car for that now.
I know.
Oh, please, But we're talking now, let's see. Oh, my gosh. Well, we're talking 30-some years ago or whatever, a long time ago. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I thought, all right, great. And on Friday, my agent called me and said, how would you like to do a movie? And I said, great. I said, I haven't done a movie since the 1960s. And he said, it's a movie that's, I said, California? He said, no, going to be shot here in New Jersey, and it'll be 10 days' work, and they'll pay you $1,000 a day. I said, fabulous. I've just looked at a car that I want to buy that's, $9,000, blah, 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 and whatever. And he said, well, great. And he said, there's only one thing about it, a drawback. He said, it's a horror film.
Yeah.
I said, you've got to be kidding. I said, oh, no. Bad enough that I'm known as a game player, and then to do a horror movie, I don't think so. And then I thought about the car again, and I said, well, send me the script. So they sent me the script, and I read it, and I said, what a piece of...
You can say
Go
it.
ahead.
Well, I won't say S-H-I-T on the air, but that's what I said. And I thought, oh, God, no. Nobody is ever going to see this stupid thing. It'll come, it'll go, and that will be it. So I said to him, I'll do it. I said, 10 days' work, yeah, fine. Well, there we are. I've got a secret, and Friday the 13th are the two things that people really remember me mostly from.
Yeah.
And lots of luck with all the Broadway shows I did, and I played the lead in the last Tennessee Williams play that was done on Broadway while he was still alive, which was The Eccentricities of Nightingale. And it was such a joy to get to know that man and to work with him. I was honored. I've had a lot of honorable things in my life.
Well, you've even
very happy.
known people like James Dean, too, didn't you?
Jimmy. We used to call him Jimmy. I guess we only call Jimmy Dean the guy that makes the sausages or something right now, right? Yeah, no, Jimmy, yeah. He and I did, we did, I think, Studio One together, and which was an hour dramatic show that we did live. Those were the days when it was only live television.
Right,
there was no tape or anything like that. And then I think we did a Danger, which was a half-hour show. That, and then we had a romance, for about 9 months or something like that.
Wow.
And,
he had good taste.
Wow, please, wow.
He had very good taste.
We all are, we're not wow. We're not wow or wowable. We're just human beings. And really what brought Jimmy and I together was that we were both from Indiana.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
Yeah, he grew up, I think, in Marion or close to something like that with his aunt and uncle, and I grew up in East Chicago.
That's why you're so down to earth. We're actually from Rockford, Illinois.
I'm a Midwestern girl.
So are we. Well, I'm not a Midwestern girl, but...
No, you're a Midwestern boy. We'll call us girls and boys.
We have a huge audience tonight, and we have people in the chat room, and one of the questions they want to know is, do you have any Bill Cullen stories?
Bill Cullen. Oh, I adored Billy, and I still know his wife, Anne, who lives out there in California, wonderful lady. Billy, well, yeah, I know something about Bill that nobody else knows about.
What's that?
You're asking me these things out of the blue like this. Billy would always... This is really a very stupid thing to say, but it was true. We would be doing our show live, and we'd go out and sit at the panel, the four of us, and he sat next to me. Actually, how we sat next to each other was because Henry got mad at me one night because they always did these jokes on us where they'd look in our closets or our refrigerators or something, and then on the air they would tell us what they had found or whatever. And one night we were having to guess whose refrigerator it was, and the refrigerator had nothing in it but a martini glass. nothing else, just this totally empty refrigerator with this glass getting cold in it. And I said, oh, well, that's got to be Henry's. I said, he's an alcoholic. Well, I didn't know that he was. I was just making a joke. And he was so angry with me. Oh, my gosh. He wouldn't speak to me for weeks, and they moved me over next to Bill so that I was sitting next to him. And Henry, of course, and he and I eventually did make peace about the whole thing. And well, neither here nor there. So sitting next to Bill, every night that we would sit down on the panel and do the show, he would take his hand on my, this is a terrible thing to say, he would go up under my skirt and snap my garter belt. Just the little hook and eye that in those days we ladies, wore garter belts or something because we wore stockings instead of pantyhose and all that jazz that they do now, or did eventually. So he always snapped my garter for good luck.
That is priceless.
So that's a stupid thing to tell you, but nobody else ever knew about it. So.
Wow, considering the times and how, politically correct TV was back then, if the camera would have panned down, you'd have been off the air.
What? Politically incorrect, I mean?
Well, during that time, everything was they couldn't have shown that on TV.
No,
that's true.
I kind of got the impression that you said...
He was a dear guy.
You said you had a little bit of a discussion with Henry, where he got angry at you for a while. I kind of got an impression Henry had a crush on you.
What about Henry?
I think he had a crush on you, didn't he?
Oh, I don't know about that.
He acted like it.
I don't think so.
Maybe it was just a flirt.
No. We really all loved one another. Actually, at that point in time, he was going with Joanna Simon, who was Carly Simon's sister.
Mm.
And this is before Carly ever was known as the singer she became. And Joanna actually was, she was an operatic singer. Yeah, very talented girl, very beautiful girl, tall girl. She was taller than I was. And Henry went with her for a long time.
Well, what about Gary Moore? Was he pretty easy to get along with, or?
Gary was, what did you just say?
Was he easy to get along with?
You're mumbly, darling. Speak up.
Okay. Yes, Mrs. Voorhees. No. Gary Moore, was he somebody that was easy to get along with, or?
Oh, of course. Of course. We all got along with one another very, very nicely because we only saw each other once a week. We'd go to the studio and do the show live. Actually, Studio 54, remember they called that Studio 54?
Yes, yeah.
That was our studio. We were on 54th Street between Broadway and 8th Avenue. And I think it's a legit theater now, as I recall. They've done a lot of things in it. In fact, one night a friend of mine had taken me there when it was this big Studio 54 where everybody was hanging out and dancing and the whole thing that was going on at that point in time. And I didn't realize because we went in the front door and there was a line of people waiting and some big burly fellow at the door and said to Jacques Bellini, the man who was taking me there, "Oh, yes, Mr. Bellini, come in." And we went in and we were dancing and not to a live orchestra or anything. And all of a sudden I realized that I was dancing on stage at the theater that I sat in all those years doing I've Got a Secret.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
We just thought of it as the studio. We didn't think of it as Studio 54 or anything like that, which I thought, isn't that the wildest thing that ever? Our lives are so crazy. All those years that I sat there, and there I was dancing and, carrying on with the music that was being played then in this very in place.
Right.
And, whatever.
Now, with doing the things like, I've Got a Secret, where everything was live, you were kind of no stranger to doing things like that because you had done stage work, right?
I had done what, Laura?
You had done stage work, right? So doing the whole live thing, that wasn't intended.
Stage work?
Stage work.
Oh, that's a wonderful way of saying it. Oh, my God, stage work. Okay. Well, yes.
It's called the theater, Tiff.
Theater, my dears. Yes. I was, I did another game show before I did I've Got a Secret, as a matter of fact. I did something that was called masquerade party.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter Donald, and he was the moderator, and Ogden Nash, and Ilka Chase, whose mother, I don't know, was the head of a big woman's fashion magazine or something, and Bobby Short, who was a musician.
Right.
Anyway, that was never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that I would end up being a panelist on a game show, because I'd been just one of the girls that held up things, you know, that the price was right, I think it was called. That was with Mike Douglas, and I was just, I don't know, I was just in a Girl Friday on a show that was called The Wheel of Fortune, which was the first Wheel of Fortune that ever happened, a half-hour show, a daytime show that Todd Russell was the MC on it, and so I never really ever dreamed that I would have anything to do with being sitting on a panel,
mm-hmm.
where I had been at the other end being a Girl Friday on
right.
these shows. And what had happened was that I had just finished the movie Mr. Roberts, or they were getting ready to release it in New York, and somebody from I've Got a Secret called over at, I guess it was Warner Brothers, I think that was the film studio, and said, you know, who's in town? And the guy said, well, they said, we need somebody to come over and sit on the panel. And for, oh gosh, what was her name? The blonde who really did the show before I ever got onto it. Anyway, it'll come to me in a minute. My head goes in another direction now.
So does mine, Betsy.
Good. I think they're putting something in the water. I really do. I wasn't sure this morning whether it was Saturday or Sunday. Anyway, and then I talked to a friend of mine. She said, I had the same problem this morning. She said, I didn't know which day it was. Anyway, he said, yeah, Betsy Palmer's in town. I was living in town, for goodness sake. But anyway, they had me come over on the show, and I did the show. And then they had me come back another time to sit and do it. And the client, which was Winston Cigarettes, decided that they thought I was safer than the lady's name, who I can't remember. Because she was, she had a column, and she was married to...
Are you talking about Dorothy Kilgallen?
No, that was What's My Line.
Okay.
I used to go over and do for Dorothy, and who else was it over there? Anyway, when they were off the air, not off the air, but when they were missing one of them and
mm-hmm.
couldn't do the show, they would have, Goodson and Todman would have all of us kind of go over and do the other things. I wish I could remember. Faye Emerson.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Who it was that originally did it. And they made me a regular on the show.
Wow.
Faye was quite political and all, and I was, you know, Miss Sugar and Spice and everything nice, which was stupid.
That was
that at all.
The strange thing, that when you were casted in Friday the 13th, you were always so sweet and so nice. I know that you really didn't want to do it, and it was to get a new car and everything.
Rotten as I was in that movie.
But the thing is, did you really look at that as a challenge as an actress? Because that was so different. No?
I did it to buy the car. I told you, I didn't think anybody would see this damn thing. I thought, God, it'll come and it'll go.
Did they ever tell you, Betsy, why they asked you? Because like Terry was saying, I mean, you were known for being Miss Next Door.
I know. Never wanted to be the girl I ever lived next door to. They always called me the girl next door. I thought, oh my God, really. I don't know. I heard that they had asked another actress, whose name, again, is slipping my head at this point, but and a well-known and very good actress. And she and I see each other once in a while. We're brought together as, like when they're having every 10 years on the Today Show. They have we gals who used to be on the Today Show. Those of us who are still alive, they have come back. I was thinking about it today. I thought, I think it's 8 years now or something like that since I did it the last time. And I see her there, and I'm really going to have to ask her this next time, you know, was it offered to her in the first place? I really, when I say this to you, I didn't think about me being a nice gal and the image that I have. I think that they just sort of lucked out. They just wanted somebody who had halfway a name of some sort.
Right.
I don't know even if they thought about that, to tell you the truth. And I never thought about it, and I approached it like I approach every role that I do. You know, I make up a whole autobiography on the character, on the role. I make up the whole story so that by the time I had a teacher in Chicago who said, you know, you have a life before you walk on stage or before you go in front of the camera. That character has lived a life.
Right.
And you bring that character whose life has been whatever it's been to life again while you're doing it. And so I don't know. I've only seen that crazy movie maybe 3 times. And
Right.
I think it's been 30 years now.
Well, let me
29 or 30 years. Yeah.
let me ask you, Betsy, because we also interviewed Adrienne King, who played the ingenue in Friday the 13th.
She loves you. She loves
Each other. We do these autograph signing things, which are great fun. You know, where people come and they ask for your picture and they sign your name on it. But they're so sweet, the people that do come. They're so loving. I don't know. There's quite a few, like maybe 3 generations now. They put their babies in my arms and takes pictures of me wearing a sweater, which sort of looks like the sweater that I used in the movie that I happened to just buy once, you know, on a resale in a resale store. So I wear that. But they love her. They love Mrs. Voorhees. Well, I tell you, I think she's a perfect mother. You know, not only will she kill for her son, she'll die for him.
Exactly.
And every kid wants you to do that, that's for sure.
She's the greatest mother since Norman Bates' mother, that's for sure.
Well, Norman Bates' mother is in drag, for God's sake. It was Tony. Yeah, he and I did a movie together.
Really?
With Hank Fonda, sure. We did The Tin Star after I worked with Fonda in Mr. Roberts. That was the next movie that came along my way, which was with Henry. We never called him Henry. We called him Hank. And Tony, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Tony Perkins, who really was Mrs. Bates. Wasn't he?
Well,
yes,
you know,
he was, actually.
I actually met Anthony Perkins, and he was a lot like Norman Bates. He was very nervous, at least to me.
Was Tony?
Yeah.
He was very much Norman Bates. He really was in real life.
Yeah.
He was very much that character. He was nervous.
Well, I want to ask.
We're all nervous.
I want to ask you, Betsy, because you actually worked with an actress that she's like one of my idols, and that was, you did the film Queen Bee with Joan Crawford.
Oh, yeah.
What was it like working with Joan?
I loved her. She and I stayed friends till the end of her life. Everybody said what a bitch she was and what a bad lady she was. I adored her, and she adored me, too. And I'll tell you the reason why.
Okay.
Was because we both respected each other for what it was that we did.
Yes.
And our attitude toward being an actress. She was a fabulous, she knew the movie industry inside out, but she knew what she was doing on a stage set. I really had great respect for her and her integrity that she had toward her work, and she felt the same way about me. She couldn't believe, you know, that I would have the nerve or the gumption or whatever to get up on a stage and to talk and say lines that I had memorized for 2.5, 3 hours, because that's what theater used to be.
Right.
Or even to go on TV. That's the reason why she went on I've Got a Secret, because she liked me and she felt safe that, you know, I would be a part of the program the night that she was on Secret. And she just, but, oh no, she was a very professional lady.
Yeah.
As was I. I've always been very professional when it comes to my work. I mean, there's a time for play and there's a time for work. And I've always enjoyed my profession and respected it. And even though I did Friday the 13th.
Well, you were really a lot luckier than Joan, because even though you played a crazy character, everybody knows you still as sweet and lovable, and a lot of people really believe Joan was crazy, and she got a bad rap.
Nah. Well, I mean, yes, I understand what you're saying, but she didn't mind that. She didn't mind that at all.
Oh, really?
In fact, well, she and Betty Davis parlayed it into whatever happened to Baby Jane.
Absolutely.
Those two ladies, I mean, the film industry is a very strange industry, and for those two ladies who were huge box office stars and everything, to get to the point in their life where one of them, I think it was Davis, that ran a page ad or something in Variety saying, actress wants work or something like that. It was, they'd had these huge careers, and then the studios just dropped them.
Yeah.
And both she and that's why the two of them did that crazy movie,
right.
And it brought them back again. It's a great film.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know whether you ever saw it or not.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love that film.
It's fabulous, just wonderful. And whether or not they had this running thing between them where they were vying to be leading ladies or something, I really don't know about that, to tell you the truth. I think that they probably said, sure, they want a legend about us, let it be that. They didn't care. I mean, as long as you spelled the name right,
Right.
No. They were great, both of them. I knew Davis. Being on I've Got a Secret, I met, 10 million people.
Right. Everyone.
And, but all these lovely people, or maybe not so lovely, who knows, but they came on the show as the mystery guest, and it was, as a result, there have been many, many big ones, really great ones. I don't consider myself a great one at all, or a big one. I mean, as I say, I don't know. It just happened the way it happened.
Well, we envy you so much. You knew all our favorites, including James Cagney.
Well, I never met him.
Oh, really? Well,
no.
Database must be wrong.
The girls were flown to Hawaii to do the sequence in Mr. Roberts.
Right.
And they had been out on Midway when we gals got there. There were like 10 of us or whatever there were in that sequence. And we were there for 2 weeks, and Cagney and William Powell and probably Fonda had been shooting out on Midway. And, of course, it was a John Ford movie at the point when I came into it. My first movie also was a John Ford movie. I mean, Mr. Ford was the creme de la creme, I would say, of directors in Hollywood, and certainly at that time. And so it was Mr. Ford and Hank got into a big fight because I guess it came to fisticuffs. But Mr. Ford had a problem with drinking. Mm-hmm. And when he was working, he didn't drink. But when he fell off the wagon, he would be a little drunk.
Right.
And what happened was that in Hawaii, which was a favorite place of his, and Duke Kahanamoko and people like that were very, very fond of him, and he was having a wonderful time, and that's where we were shooting my part of the sequence in Mr. Roberts. And he started to party. And once he started drinking, he couldn't stop. And so eventually what happened, he was, Hank, wasn't going to go on with the movie, and they got Mervyn LeRoy to finish the movie. In fact, I remember I had a call from Hollywood that they wanted me to come out to reshoot everything that we had done in Hawaii for that sequence in the movie, and I wouldn't do it because I still wanted Mr. Ford's, hand on that sequence, so to speak, of what I did. And I'm still glad that it was his time when he was still on the film. But I've now lost my train of thought. I don't know what question you asked me.
Oh, no, that's fine. We had just started talking about Cagney.
Yeah. Well, he evidently, they had their time off when we gals got there. And I had no sequences with him in the film. It was just with Jack and with Hank. so I never did meet Mr. Cagney or William Powell either.
I just love your Hollywood stories because, God, old Hollywood is almost gone, and it's so sad.
It's another ball game, yeah.
And the actors we have now are not the caliber of the actors that we had in old Hollywood.
Yeah, it's different now.
Sure is.
It's a different time that we live in. I'm glad I was part of that time, to tell you the truth. It was a very remarkable time to be in, and I met a lot of people who were, you know, like Crawford, very, very, had tremendous integrity as far as their work was concerned.
You know, I've got to ask you, on the game show, I've got a secret. When you wore the mask, when you had a celebrity guest, could you see through the bottom of your nose?
Yes. You've probably heard me admit that. I said to our producer one night, Chester Feldman, I said, Chester, I said, we can see. I said, we're wearing the masks, but, you know, when you have a mask, when you Halloween or whatever, you know, you have the mask on, and right at the corner of where your nose and your eye meet, you know, the mask wasn't anything that was that solid. I mean, if you turned your head a little askew, you could see. You could see right through it. So I said this to him one day. I said, Chester, I said, we can see. We can see who the people are there. And I explained to him how we could do that. And I said, well, what should we do? He said, close your eyes, which I thought was absolutely very right. And that's true that we did. And, well, some of us did, and some of us didn't. Well, I won't even mention any names now. But it wasn't fun not to, you know, for us to know who it was and then trying to fake it. You know, please, no. There's no integrity there. So, yeah, although it was very funny because I was doing, they've been doing What's My Line here in New York City live for a live audience. And they've asked me to do it a couple of times. And they have the masks. And now they've got them so jammed up that you couldn't see anything if your life depended upon it, you know.
It's just amazing that somebody didn't pick up on that, because I know there was a big scandal back in those days
about...
that
was afterwards, yeah. No, and I must say, I will say that about I've Got a Secret. We were never prompted, you know. We were never, no. That happened on, I think that happened on What's My Line, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think so. I think it might have been when that fellow whose father was a big professor and he had won some, I don't know, the $50,000 pyramid or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, I mean, that all erupted afterward. And then they were so careful. Oh, my God, God forbid that anybody should have known who was going to be on the show. And, oh, please. It was like it was life and death.
Yeah.
A game show. I mean, really, much more important things in this world have happened.
Now, I wanted to ask you, Betsy.
Yes, Tiffany.
I know that you were maybe a little bit reticent to do Friday the 13th. You did it because you wanted the money for the car and everything. You ended up doing another horror film, which was The Fear Resurrection.
Which one?
The Fear Resurrection. It was in 1999.
Oh.
What convinced you to do that?
I think that was a sequel. Wasn't that a sequel?
It was a sequel, yeah.
Yeah, to something. That was a dreadful movie. Not a good movie at all. And I played somebody's grandma in it. I've never remembered the name of it. Yeah, there was, I think the first film was successful. Maybe it was called, I can't remember what it was called. But it was, no, it didn't have a good script. And no, I don't know. I did it, I guess, to have another job and to do another movie.
Right.
It wasn't part of the studio. I was under contract to Columbia Pictures, and they always loaned me out for things.
But you actually received accolades, and you got an award for Penny Dreadful, right?
Penny Dreadful was done by a young man who wrote it and directed it and produced it, and I did it as a favor to him, as a friend, to do the role. And I don't know, I think he received many rewards. I never received a reward for it, at least not that I know of. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Maybe they gave it to me, but
I think they gave it to you and you never heard about it, because in 2006, Terror Film Festival actually awarded you as Best Actress for Penny Dreadful.
What happened in 2006?
You won an award from the Terror Film Festival for Best Actress in Penny
Paris Film Festival?
Terror, Terror. As in terror, as in scary.
Betsy, you need to get a hold of them and tell them you want your damn award.
No. Oh, no, I really had nothing to do in that movie. Not at all. I just did it as a friendly thing. And then we had to reshoot some of it after it was so complex for that poor man. And was putting it together, and then we had to reshoot stuff in his apartment, I remember, long after it was done, and oh my God. No, the girl in it is very good. Actually, it's a very good movie. It's a very, very interesting, and it has a nice twist to it at the end. No. I mean, I didn't do anything. I remember that he wanted me to play it as this nice lady. I said, oh, we got to make a little twist in this somewhere. I mean, when I walk out of this little scene, people have got to think there's something a little crazy here, you know. I didn't think she could just be a nice, lovely lady that comes in, so I played her in a little strange, weird way.
Right.
You know, with a subtext going on, like, is she all right or isn't she all right? But no, he got a lot of awards for that. Yeah, I was thinking of actually looking in my telephone book the other day. I came across his name, and I thought, I wonder what's happening to that young man. He teaches film acting and stuff like that, whatever that means.
Well, we have something to look forward to.
Acting, that's the way I look at it. What?
And we have something to look forward to, and I guess it's really kind of a family film, and that is The Bell Witch.
Well, that's just my voice, darling.
But it's a lovely voice, Betsy.
Well, I'm just saying I don't play anything in it. In fact, I talked to the people the other night, the mother of the young man who wrote it, and they produced it, yes. I feel for them. I keep hoping, that it will be. It's a very, very nice movie. It's a good movie. It's a pretty movie. It's shot in Tennessee. They're from Tennessee. But I'm nothing more than a voice in it. That's all. You never see me.
But I saw you reciting the lines, and you were incredible. You really were. I mean, you put so much feeling into everything you do.
But, darling, I'm an actress. I'm sounding like...
She's like, that's what I
all
do.
These actresses who say, but darling, they call everybody darling, and I can't remember their names, But, no, I mean, yeah, I just did all that in one day.
Wow.
I remember they called me in. I flew to California, and we were in the studio all that one day doing all those lines. I don't know. I never met anybody. I never saw the film until eventually it was opened in that wonderful, wonderful theater in Nashville, which is the big theater where all the singers are.
Right. Well, real quick before we let you go, Betsy, I wanted to ask you, and I don't know if there's any truth to this. Is there any truth to what is being said that they had asked you to reprise the role of Mrs. Voorhees in the latest Freddy vs. Jason?
Well, I heard that it was going to be done, that they were going to remake. Adrienne knows more about it than I do, Adrienne King. Mm-hmm. She always comes in with the latest news. And then I think that they did call the gal that represents me out in California. Mm-hmm. And but what I heard was, and I hear it from Adrienne, is that they were going to make it, and the producers that were going to produce it, they've been very successful, evidently, but they went out of business, and that I don't know whether it was Paramount or Warner's or whoever got the rights to it, and that maybe it was going to be done. Then last I heard, it wasn't going to be done.
Right.
And I kept thinking, how could they why would they possibly remake the first one? And the first one was perfect, you know?
Exactly.
I mean, it has served the purpose down the line that people love Friday the 13th, especially number one.
Yeah.
It's a very good movie. I think why it's been such a success is that, you know, they never really spelled anything out for you.
Right.
Exactly.
You had to use your imagination. And, of course, who's the director and the producer from long ago?
Sean Cunningham.
Yeah.
Which one?
Sean Cunningham?
No, that's Sean. That's from Friday the 13th. I'm talking about the big film director who did all those mystery films and things like that. Big name.
Wes Craven?
No, before that.
I'm not sure.
Well, that's all right. You're young.
That's
You're
right.
young and you don't remember, and I'm old and I don't remember.
This is why I love you. You called me young. You called me darling. I've got a good night here.
Whatever you'd like to be called, just let me know. You know, blow a kiss to you over the phone.
The magic question
a little
is
kiss on your nose.
The magic question. Oh, a little kiss on my nose. I like that too. The magic question
but the
is
thing about the first Friday the 13th was, I believe, the success of that was that, you know, it really, you don't know. Is somebody behind the shower curtain when that little girl went in to wash her hands after she went tinkle or something, and Kevin Bacon is waiting for her, you know, and I only met him at about, I don't know, within this last year. He and I never knew any of them. I knew Adrian, and that was it, because we shot 10 days, you know, at the end of the film. They started in June, I think, and I wasn't called in until September or October.
Right.
We had snow on the ground. We had to not shoot some nights because of that.
Well, you know, we had Adrian on, of course, and we had Ari, who both love you, Ari Lehman.
Ari, darling Ari. I had never met him. He's a very, very talented musician, you know.
Absolutely.
And sings extremely well, which I never knew. I never met any of them.
But Adrian told us that because of you being from the theater, that you literally beat the hell out of her when you were doing the movie because you said on stage you really hit each other.
No. I can explain to you what happened. We were in this barn or something like that and waiting for the cameras to get set up, and I said, well, let's rehearse this little, this vignette that we're going to be doing. That's the thing about film. It's all broken up into pieces.
Right.
Oh, I much prefer the stage. Anyway, so it was a sequence where I'm supposed to smack her in her face, slap her. And so, now, on the stage, in the theater, we slap people.
Right.
What else are you going to do? You do it if you have something to do. And I know how to take my hand. Here, I'm holding my hand up to my jawline right now as I speak to you. But there is a place where you can catch somebody down near their jawline, where the jawbone is, and hit them there. And you get a smack, but you don't hurt anybody. You hit yourself right along your jawline with your hand. It doesn't hurt you at all. So, but, she was a young girl, and this was her first thing or whatever, I don't know. So we start to do the little scene, and it comes to the slap, and I give her a whack. And she fell to the floor. She's calling out to Sean, who was our director and cameraman and everything. He said, Sean, she hit me. I said, and I'm standing there like a fool, saying, well, of course I hit you, you crazy girl. We're rehearsing this scene. And Sean came up and he said, no, Betsy. No, we don't hit anybody when we do movies or film or whatever he said. I said, well, I said, what do you mean you don't? I said, you have to. I said, you're taking this silly picture of us doing this. I said, all right, what are we going to do? He said, you're going to miss her. I said, you're kidding. He said, no. He said, we'll just put in the sound effect of a slap. Which I'm not sure whether he did or not, to tell you the truth.
If he would have known you were friends with Joan Crawford.
But at the beach and everything, with in the sand and all that. Come on. Well, she hit me with a skillet. Well, the skillet was a rubber skillet. But the whole idea when she knocks me to the floor, I don't know, you see the blood on the floor and whatever. You know, of course we've got all this jazz going on where nobody hurts anybody.
Right, right.
Not really at all.
And
I remember that I was up, we had done the sequence down on the water's edge. Cold. It was very cold.
Sure.
As I said, you know, it wasn't summer when they started the film. And I'd gone up to get out of my clothes as they were all wet and everything with us wrestling around on the beach. And that night, and I remember they came up and they said, "Don't you want to see your head get cut off?" I said, "You got to be kidding." As though I could care less that anybody's even going to see this stupid movie. And that's how I thought about it. And so I never did see how they cut my head off.
Wow, you
and
must see that.
And it wasn't me, actually. It was the young man who played me throughout the film, who was the assistant to Tommy Savini, who was our special effects man. Brilliant man, yeah. I mean, his work, he does beautiful work. And this young man was, who played my feet and everything. I don't know, I don't have hair on the back of my hands. They have a picture of my hand or something doing something in the movie. Come on.
Well, the magic question is, Betsy, if they go to do another one, if you by chance need a new car,
I would do it.
You would?
I would do it just to play Mrs. Voorhees again.
There you go.
Yeah, I would do that. But I don't think they're going to do it.
I don't know.
I really don't.
There's been a lot of rumors about it. I don't know if it'll ever happen.
Have you heard anything recently?
Not recently, just that they were planning on trying to remake it, and that's about all everybody's hearing.
Did Adrian talk about it?
Well, yeah, we told Adrian that actually we heard Sean Cunningham was involved, and we told her to get a hold of him.
Well, of course, Sean Cunningham would be involved.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who's involved. He lucked out on that one.
Yeah.
I don't even know whether Sean really was aware that he had the kind of movie that he had there.
Right.
I never saw any of the other ones. I don't know what they're about. I always say that that's not my little boy, that guy in the hockey mask.
Exactly.
My little boy hadn't drowned in Crystal Lake. I said, I would never have done all those terrible things I supposedly did. Actually, you know, you don't see me doing anything.
That's true.
It's all in your imagination.
It was very,
That's why the movie is a success.
Exactly.
It was very Hitchcock, right?
Hitchcock is who I'm trying to think of. I was going to think of about 5
Bingo!
minutes ago. That's it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Hitchcock was a genius
Yes.
at just that sort of thing, to lead you down these wonderful paths without ever really letting you know, letting your imagination work far more, you know.
Well, I know we've had a few Jasons on, and Ari Lehman told me he's so proud that you said there was no other Jason but him.
That's what I say all the time. Absolutely, with his long curly hair.
Yes.
And his goatee.
Well,
He's
Betsy,
a doll. He's a doll. I love Ari.
we want to thank you so much for taking almost an hour here to chat with us on the phone. And we have a live chat room that goes on during the show, and everyone's in there saying, please tell Betsy before you get off the phone with her that we love her and that we want to thank her for all of the gift that she's given to acting. So just know that you have
I thank all of you for the love that has been given. I was saying this just to somebody the other day with a friend of mine. I said, it's the most amazing thing to be loved the way I have been loved all my life. You know, I mean, I don't know what it is that I am or have been or whatever. Even as a young girl, even before I ever thought about being an actress, I didn't, you know. I have been loved that way forever
Right.
and a day.
Right.
And it's the sweetest thing. It's the dearest thing. I can't tell you. I don't even know how to describe it because people just say, I love you so much. And I just thank the universe, you know, or whatever one wants to call it, and that I just say thank you all the time for the lovely gift that I have been given to be a part of the world in the way I have been a part in the world. I don't know, you know. As I said, these two silly, unimportant, really, viewings of me. One is this killer lady in Friday the 13th, and is a game player, and I've got a secret, which of course they still show, you know.
Yeah.
They stopped showing it for a while because they said, we can't show this. we have a sponsor with a cigarette. I mean, you know, we put men on the moon. You can't take off Winston on the piece of tape of, you know, television. Oh, please. I mean, what a silly thing. But all I can say is that I feel very honored to have been given the life that I have been given to live. And I feel blessed. I really do.
Well, I sure hope we get to meet.
It's been a joy speaking to both of you this evening.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And hopefully someday we'll get to meet you at one of these little fan conventions.
You're mumbling again, my darling.
Sorry.
You hope what?
I hope someday we actually get to meet you in person, maybe at one of the fan conventions or something.
Here in New York.
Yeah, maybe when we get out to the East Coast, we'll let you know. But again, Betsy, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
To me, it has been my joy.
Thank you.
Both of you, really. It has been just lovely. And thank you for letting me ramble on and babble. And I guess I've even said some things tonight probably that were new, like whoever knew that Billy would snap my garter.
Exactly.
I mean, it sounds so racy, and it was so not racy at all.
All right.
So silly.
Thank you, Betsy. You have a wonderful night.
Darlings.
Good
Thank
night.
you very much. My joy. Maybe we'll talk again.
Absolutely.
I have many stories.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
darling.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.